She laughed loud enough for my entire family to hear and said, "If we ever get married, he'll be lucky if I don't cheat." 50 people went silent. I kept grilling burgers like nothing happened. But when my uncle pulled me aside that night, his advice changed everything. And 3 weeks later, I made sure she'd never forget what happens when you test the wrong person. My name's Tom. I'm 38. Work as a project manager for a commercial construction company. I build skyscrapers, hospitals, university buildings. I take chaos and turn it into something solid and functional. I thought my relationship with my girlfriend Rachel was the most solid thing in my life. We'd been together 2 years, living in my house for the last one. We had plans. Marriage, kids, the blueprint for a whole future together. Rachel was beautiful, funny, the life of every party. She had this wild energy that I thought balanced out my more structured, serious nature. My family loved her. She fit in seamlessly at every gathering, told great stories, made everyone laugh. Therefore, every year on the last weekend of summer, my family throws this massive barbecue at my uncle's place. 3 generations, tons of food, loud, happy chaos. It's about connection, about roots. It's literally the last place on earth you'd expect your life to completely fall apart. Saturday was perfect. Late summer, clear sky, everyone in great moods. My cousins were throwing a football, kids running through sprinklers, adults gathered on the deck drinking beer and laughing. I was at the grill flipping burgers, feeling completely content with life. Rachel was holding court with a group of my female cousins and my aunt. They were talking about some celebrity wedding, and the conversation drifted to our own future plans. I could hear them from where I stood, only half paying attention. Then my cousin asked, "So when are you two finally going to make it official?" That's when Rachel dropped it. She laughed, this loud, theatrical laugh that made several heads turn. "Oh God, I don't know. If we ever get married, he'll be lucky if I don't cheat." The laughter on the deck died instantly. The conversation stopped mid-sentence. In the sudden silence, the only sounds were burgers sizzling on the grill and distant shouts from the kids in the yard. I didn't turn around. I just stood there, spatula in hand, staring at grill marks on a piece of meat. She tried to play it off. "I'm kidding." Mostly. Forced laugh. A few people gave weak, uncomfortable chuckles. The conversation slowly, awkwardly started back up, but the mood was shattered. The perfect summer day now had this dark cloud hanging over it. I stayed quiet. Didn't look at her. Didn't say a word. Just kept grilling, movements calm and methodical. Inside, though, a storm was building. It wasn't just the disrespect. It was the public nature of it. She hadn't just insulted me. She'd announced to my entire family that our relationship was a joke to her, that my commitment was something she considered optional. I served the food. I sat with everyone. I talked and laughed and pretended I hadn't just heard the woman I loved detonate the foundation of our life together. Rachel kept shooting me little looks, trying to gauge my reaction. I gave her nothing. Complete blank wall. Therefore, later that night, as people were starting to leave, my Uncle Frank pulled me aside. Frank's my dad's older brother, retired cop, a man who's seen the absolute best and worst of humanity. He doesn't say much, but when he does, you listen. He led me to the edge of the yard, away from the tiki torches and lingering guests. Looked me straight in the eye, face dead serious. I heard what she said. I just nodded. "You're a good kid, Tom. You're solid. You build things to last. That woman? She's all flash, no foundation." He paused, looking back at the party where Rachel was laughing with my aunt like nothing had happened. "You're angry. You want to go home and have it out with her. Yell, scream, maybe break up with her tonight." He was right. That's exactly what I wanted to do. "Don't," he said firmly. "That's what she expects. That's the game she wants to play. A big dramatic fight where she can cry and apologize, call it a stupid joke, and you'll forgive her because you love her. Then she'll know she can get away with it. She'll know she can disrespect you, and the only consequence is a little drama." He put his hand on my shoulder. "A woman who jokes about cheating isn't joking. She's sending up a trial balloon, testing your boundaries, telling you exactly who she is. The biggest mistake you can make is not believing her. So what do I do?" His advice was simple, but it changed everything. You do nothing. You go home. You act like everything's fine. Let her think she got away with it. Let her get comfortable. And while she's comfortable, you get smart. Find out if that trial balloon is the only one or if there's a whole fleet you don't know about. Don't get emotional. Get information. People like that don't fear anger. They fear exposure. He leaned in closer. "You want to end it? Fine. But don't end it on her terms. End it on yours. Make sure when you walk away, she understands exactly what she lost and why." I looked at my uncle and understood. He wasn't telling me to be weak. He was telling me to be strategic. He was giving me a new blueprint. The old one, marriage and kids, was gone. The new one was for demolition. Quiet, careful, complete demolition. I went back to the party, smiled at Rachel, and started planning. Therefore, it's been 1 week since the barbecue. 1 week of playing the perfect, forgiving boyfriend. 1 week of methodical, silent investigation. My uncle's advice has been my North Star. Don't get emotional, get information. On the drive home that night, Rachel finally tried to address what happened. Are you mad at me? I glanced over. About what? You know, the joke I made. It was stupid. I was just trying to be funny. My sense of humor is a little dark sometimes. I just shrugged. It's fine. I get it. The relief that washed over her face was instant. She thought she was off the hook. Thought my silence at the party was just me being moody. She had no idea I was recalculating the entire project. For the next few days, she was the perfect girlfriend. Affectionate, attentive, no more jokes. She thought she'd pushed a boundary and that I'd accepted it. She was comfortable. While she was comfortable, I was working. But first I needed to understand the scope of the problem. Was her comment a one-time stupid mistake? Or was it a symptom of something deeper? I started with her phone. We had an open policy with devices, knew each other's passcodes. Foundation of trust that she, it turned out, didn't deserve. I waited until she was asleep and went through it. I wasn't looking for a smoking gun. I was looking for patterns. I didn't find explicit texts from other men. She was too smart for that. But I found something more telling, a pattern of deletion. Her text threads with certain male friends were suspiciously clean. Gaps in conversations, missing days. Her call log showed calls to these same numbers, but the corresponding texts were gone. A person with nothing to hide doesn't meticulously scrub their conversations. Therefore, the most interesting find was a group chat with her 3 best friends. The chat was called the Escape Committee. I scrolled back months. It was a running commentary on their lives, relationships, future plans. A gold mine of information. They talked about me constantly, referred to me as the warden or Mr. Stable. Talked about my boring life, my predictable schedule. Rachel's posts were the most damning. She complained about feeling trapped. Talked about wanting more excitement. Then I found a conversation from the day before the barbecue. One of her friends asked if she was really ready to settle down with me. Rachel's reply, God no, but the setup is too good to leave right now. He's a great safety net while I figure out what I really want. And what I really want is not a guy who spends his weekends installing a new sprinkler system. Another friend, you've got to be careful. He's not dumb. What if he figures it out? Rachel's response made my blood run cold. He won't. He trusts me completely. I could probably cheat on him, and as long as I smiled and told him I loved him, he'd believe me. He's just lucky I haven't bothered yet. There it was. The barbecue joke wasn't a joke at all. It was a slightly rephrased version of her true feelings. A test, exactly like my uncle said. Testing how much disrespect I'd tolerate. I took screenshots of the entire conversation. Saved them to a secure cloud account. That was my information. Now I needed a plan for exposure. But the opportunity presented itself 2 days later. Rachel came home excited. Her best friend, the one who'd asked if she was ready to settle down, was getting engaged. Her fiancé had proposed on a trip to Paris. They were throwing a big fancy engagement party in 3 weeks at a downtown hotel. It's going to be amazing, Rachel said, eyes shining. Everyone's going to be there. We have to get you a new suit. A party. A big fancy party full of her friends and the people she wanted to impress. The stage was perfect. Therefore, I spent the next week preparing. Continued playing the part of the perfect boyfriend. Helped her pick out a dress. Booked an appointment for a new suit. Listened to her talk endlessly about the engagement, about Paris, about the size of her friend's diamond. Meanwhile, I was making my own preparations. I contacted the event planner for the party, a woman my company had worked with on corporate events. I told her I wanted to do a special surprise for the newly engaged couple. A slideshow of pictures to be played on the big screens at the party. She thought it was wonderful and gave me the technical specs for the video file. I spent hours putting it together. Started innocently enough. Pictures of the happy couple, pictures with their friends, including Rachel. Even included a few of me and Rachel smiling, looking like the perfect couple. But the last 30 seconds were different. The last 30 seconds were the screenshots from her group chat, set to scroll slowly across the screen. Her own words appearing in huge, undeniable letters, set to soft romantic piano music. He's a great safety net while I figure out what I really want. He trusts me completely. He's just lucky I haven't bothered to cheat yet. The video was ready. The stage was set. All I had to do was wait for the performance. Rachel thought this party was about her friend. She had no idea it was about to be her grand finale. Therefore, the night of the engagement party felt like the calm before a hurricane. I wasn't nervous. I was focused. I had a job to do, a structure to demolish, and I had the right tools. We arrived at the hotel ballroom. It was exactly as Rachel described. Expensive dresses, tailored suits, the quiet hum of people who believe their own hype. Rachel was in her element, flitting from group to group, laughing, air-kissing, dragging me along like a well-behaved accessory. I found the event planner and gave her the thumb drive. All set. Just play it right after the father of the bride's toast. She gave me a thumbs up and disappeared into the control booth. An hour in, the toast began. Father of the bride gave a tearful speech. Groom's best man told embarrassing stories. Then the groom himself gave a heartfelt tribute to his new fiancée, Rachel's best friend. As he finished, the lights dimmed. The event planner's voice came over the sound system. And now, a special surprise from a dear friend, a look back at some happy memories. The romantic piano music started. The slideshow began. I was standing next to Rachel near the back. She squeezed my arm, genuine smile on her face. "This is so sweet," she whispered. The first few minutes were perfect. Pictures of the happy couple flashed on 3 large screens around the room. Guests were smiling, some dabbing their eyes. Then the music swelled, and the final 30 seconds began. But the first screenshot appeared. Rachel's words. "He's a great safety net while I figure out what I really want." I felt her hand on my arm go rigid. Her smile froze. "What is this?" she hissed, voice strangled. Next screenshot. "He trusts me completely." A low murmur spread through the room as people read the words. People were turning, looking from the screens to Rachel, expressions shifting from happy celebration to confused shock. Then the final screenshot filled all 3 screens. "He's just lucky I haven't bothered to cheat yet." The room went completely silent. The only sound was that soft piano music, which now sounded like a funeral dirge. The video ended. Screens went black. Lights came up. And in that brightly lit, silent ballroom, every single eye was on Rachel. Her face was pure, horrified disbelief. Her friends, the members of the escape committee, were staring at her, their own faces pale with shock and dawning dread. They'd been exposed along with her. Therefore, I turned to look at her. The beautiful, confident woman I'd been with for 2 years was gone. In her place was a stranger, stripped bare of all her lies, standing in the wreckage of her own creation. I leaned in close, voice a quiet whisper only she could hear. "The joke's not funny anymore, is it?" I didn't wait for an answer. Took a step back, turned, and walked out of the ballroom. Didn't run, didn't look back. Just walked, steps steady and even, leaving the chaos behind me. As the ballroom doors swung shut, I heard the first sounds of the aftermath. A woman crying, a man shouting. The storm had finally broken. My Uncle Frank was waiting in the hotel lobby. I called him earlier that day, told him what I was going to do. He just nodded and said, "I'll be there." He stood up as I approached. Didn't ask how it went. Just looked at me with a small, proud smile. "Let's go get a beer. You look like a man who just got out of prison." And he was right. I was free. But it's been 6 months since the engagement party now. The demolition is complete. I've spent the time since clearing the site and starting to build something new. The final chapter isn't about drama or revenge. It's about consequences and the quiet, satisfying process of moving on. The fallout from that night was immediate and absolute. The engagement party ended in chaos. Rachel had a complete meltdown. Her friends, the escape committee, were caught in the blast. The bride-to-be was furious that her perfect night had been ruined. Their friendship is over. Rachel's social life was obliterated. The story spread like wildfire through her circle. The evidence was undeniable. She wasn't the victim. She was the architect of her own humiliation. The friends she tried so hard to impress saw her for what she was, a user, someone who saw relationships as temporary convenience. They abandoned her. She tried to fight back, of course. Told people I was a psycho, that I'd doctored the screenshots, that I was a controlling monster. But it didn't work. My reputation was solid, and her own words, displayed for everyone to see, were too damning. Therefore, she lost her job. Turned out the groom from the party was a partner at the marketing firm where she worked. He didn't fire her directly, didn't have to. The work environment became so toxic, so full of whispers and sideways glances, that she was forced to resign. She had to move out my house, obviously. I'd already packed her things. She sent her father to get them. I wasn't there, left the boxes in the garage. Her father, a man I'd always respected, couldn't even look me in the eye when I saw him briefly weeks later. The shame was too great. She's now living in a small apartment across town, working some low-level job, trying to rebuild. No friends, no partner, and a reputation that'll follow her for a long time. I received one communication from her about 2 months ago. Long, rambling email. Mix of apologies, accusations, self-pity. She wrote that the barbecue comment was the biggest mistake of her life. That she didn't really mean it, was just trying to sound cool and detached. She wrote that my uncle was a cruel old man for giving me the advice he did. That line made me realize she still didn't get it. She was still blaming someone else. Blaming the joke. Blaming my uncle. Blaming everyone but the person actually responsible. Herself. I deleted the email without replying. But my life is good now. Quiet. Stable. I've been spending time with my family. The people who form my real foundation. My Uncle Frank and I go fishing every other weekend. We don't talk about what happened. Don't need to. He just claps me on the back and says, "You did good, kid." The revenge wasn't the slideshow. Wasn't the public humiliation. The real revenge was in the simple act of believing her. She told me exactly who she was with that joke at the barbecue. My uncle's advice wasn't about revenge. It was about self-respect. He told me to believe her, and I did. I took her at her word and acted accordingly. She thought she was playing a game where she could have my stability while keeping her options open. She didn't realize that for me, commitment isn't a game. It's a structure. It's a promise. And when you prove your promises are worthless, I don't get angry. I just tear down the building and start over on solid ground. Therefore, the new foundation I'm building is stronger than the old one ever was. It's built on truth, self-respect, and the hard-won knowledge that when someone shows you who they are, you don't need anger or drama. You just need to believe them and act with clarity. She joked about cheating at a family barbecue loud enough for everyone to hear, but my uncle's advice that night taught me something better than revenge. When someone tells you who they are, believe them the first time.